Temple in victory formation for the first time, and Evan Simon leads the Owls to their first win of the season. They take down Utah State, your final from Lincoln Financial Field, 45-29.
That's right, Temple football picks up its first victory of the season, 45-29 over Utah State. Hello everyone, welcome into the Vanderland Podcast. I'm Hayden Vandell alongside Liam Gianelli. And oh boy, what a day it was for Evan Simon and that offense. Even though the first drives of the afternoon, Liam, right? First drive, they started the 1. Second drive, they started the 2. Third drive, they started the 3. And it's like, oh boy, what's going on? But then Evan Simon finally gets some good field range to start with. He throws for 5 touchdowns, his first career rushing touchdown as well. And that tush-push play at Lincoln Financial Field, unreal from that offense.
Yeah, if you can't tell, we actually called the game. We were recording right after.
Straight from there.
To get it over with and such and make sure we can sleep in tomorrow and, edit this podcast because we're going to make it look extra special for you, everybody. Mm-hmm. Good production. But seriously, Evan Simon, 5 touchdowns in the brotherly shove, they like to call it in the link, was the leading rusher also at 49 rushing yards. I know that's nothing to look at, but also more design runs for Evan Simon. But I don't know. I guess is what the kids say. Evan Simon was in his bag today. So it really looked like after the field position they were, I wouldn't say gifted, just poured upon in the back half of their field within the 5. And he said, we had to adjust. I didn't hate the play calls, the run concepts, passing. But I asked him during the presser, I was like, the run game kind of got going. They had close to 170 rushing yards. It might not look like that because the leading rusher was him at 49, but also 48, 44, 25. When you add all that up, it is a successful running game.
Right.
And they had some more motion concepts, misdirection, trickery plays. And I think that's where the playbook is officially open for Evan Simon. What bothers me now is Stan Drayton not.
I know exactly what you're going to say. He's not committing.
He's not committing to Evan Simon. He's like, Evan's got to have a good week of practice. Forrest Brock does have his work cut out for him. There's no reason why you don't start Evan Simon the rest of the way. I know, but seriously, I know that's probably what he's supposed to say. He probably knows deep down. They knew he was starting early in the week. He answered that.
Yeah, and he said yes.
But even Evan Simon, what he is, I said on the broadcast that he's not. People say he plays with moxie and he's savvy and all that. I don't see it. You know what? I think really matters. He's smart.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
He can read the
He can be a glorified game manager if that's what role you want to give him. That's not a bad thing because he's good at it. He's smart. He uses the weapons he has to his advantage. And I think that's also just the plays that Temple designed with him. Austin Jones, Austin Allen, Dante Wright, that seam beater when he had that touchdown. Perfect throw right there. He knew he read it perfectly. Usually they're coming off the sidelines, exactly what Dante Wright said. He's like, I want to hit him right in the middle of the field. That's exactly what that type of quarterback is supposed to play. He has the fundamentals. He has the mechanics. And if they're going to start using him as a run option too in the run game, using his legs, that's a whole X factor for Evan Simon as well.
Yeah, they did what they needed to do against Utah State, right? A team coming into the afternoon, I have the notes right in front of me, 202 rushing yards allowed per game by that defense.
Also, Temple was down 14-0 at one point.
Yeah, give them their respect because we said the same thing last week too, right? Down 21-3 against Coastal Carolina, and next thing you know, they have the football down 1 possession in the fourth quarter. This time, they were down 14-0 to start in the second quarter after what Stan Drayton said was probably the ugliest offensive football that he's ever seen, and Temple goes down 14-0 in the second quarter. But then Evan Simon and that offense, they finally are able to get some normal starting field range, and that's when they really took off. And for Simon and that Temple offense to score 4 touchdowns on the last 4 drives of the game, that's how you finish a game off. That's what you see from your leader. That's what you see from your quarterback. And I don't care what they have to say about Forrest Brock. And honestly, I don't think Stan Drayton is telling us the truth. I think he knows. Evan Simon is starting every single game from here on out, regardless of what happens.
Bearing injury,
sure. But regardless of what happens, even if they go out and lose, as long as it's not ugly, which I don't see how it could be, right? I'm not saying that Utah State is like, oh my God, look what they did, because Evan Simon played his 2 starts against Coastal Carolina and Utah State. It's a little bit different compared to Navy's defense in Oklahoma. But still, what we've seen against these 2 teams, it's light and day.
Yeah.
Or day and night, right?
I understand the competition argument, I do. But also, he excelled at a superior level against these lower bottom feeder defenses, He didn't have 2 touchdowns, 100 yards. Maybe Forrest Brock could have had, okay, is this really still the guy? They pulled this one out. He had 5 touchdowns, like you said, 271 yards, only 10 incompletions. And those incompletions weren't even that bad. Obviously, they had to go towards the sideline. I'm pretty sure most of them happened in the first quarter when they were backed up on their own end zone.
Yeah.
So, seriously, that Army defense on Thursday night, it's a short week. He admitted that they had to get things going, fix a couple things, even the O-line. Some injuries down there. See if reshuffling goes there. Hopefully, they get Luke Watson back, Zay Baines. Some guys could come back. We know Antoine Littleton got a little banged up at the end. I don't know if it's concussion. I didn't see him back in there. He got hit in the head and such. But Dante Wright, remember, admitted to saying that he wasn't 100%, but Stan Draden's like, I don't know if we're going to play you. And he said Dante hit the table. Obviously, that was an exclamation that I'm playing and going out there. And he scored a touchdown again, 3 straight games with the touchdown. Continues to be that wide receiver one in that offense as much as you other want to Della Pasco, the tight end room and such. His safety blankets. He just gets everyone involved, and I think that's also Danny Langsdorff's offense opening up because he trusts Evan Simon. Don't know if this audible is being called under center for Simon. I doubt he's the quarterback he is. If he needs to, he will. But no one's giving him credit for making a throw to give Automatics that field goal.
Well,
spoiler alert. And at the end of the half, I know Trez Worthy to get his credit, but also that was a good throw and a deep out to even get in his range now, probably.
Yeah, and I know we talked about it, but Terez Worthy is going to go unnoticed from this game, and he played a huge factor.
He'll be the film hero.
He was a huge factor, right? Because last week against Coastal Carolina, Stan Drayton, they had the ball with about less than a minute left to go before halftime, and Temple just elects to walk into the locker room. This week, there's 17 seconds left, and I'm thinking, okay, they're probably just going to take it in. But no, Terez Worthy had other ideas on his mind, returns it for 34 yards to the Temple 43, and the next thing you know, Temple's in Maddox Trulio's field goal range. He was saying earlier that he was hitting it from 62 yards in the week. So Temple's got...
He said he hit 70 at Navy. I think we watched that live.
Yeah. So Temple's got a legit prospect. And here is the call that me and Liam had from Maddox Trulio's Temple record-breaking 64-yard field goal.
So here we go. Maddox Trulio, his season longest 54 yards. He did it last week against Coastal Carolina. Trulio with in the holder. Mikkel Quim, the long snapper. The kick for Trulio from 64 yards. It goes off of the upright and in for Maddox Trulio. Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh, he just got an NFL deal by a team.
Unbelievable, Maddox Trulio.
And Temple's momentum is back in their favor going to the halftime tunnel. A doink in the favor again. That's the second straight week we've seen it. It's been the luck on the side, and oh my goodness, Hayden, we might see this on Bleacher Report, ESPN, a new record.
So that was the call from Maddox Trulio. He broke a Lincoln Financial field record as well, the longest field goal that was made at the Link, college, NFL, whatever it was.
There's Jake Elliott's 61-yarder versus the New York Giants and then the Buffalo Bills last year.
I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I cried.
Odell waiting in the backfield.
I think I cried.
Did you?
Yeah. I might cry tomorrow when they lose the Browns, another heartbreaker.
Well,
I said I don't get upset over Giant games anymore, but when Malik Neighbors dropped it, I threw my Mac. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
You threw it? You're lucky it didn't break.
I didn't chuck it, but I was like, I flipped it over again. I'm like, come on. So. But
yeah.
I was on the receiving end of the positive side. And again, the doink went his way. He joked about that. He's like, I've never had in my life, especially 2 straight weeks.
I know, it's
as
nuts.
a favor. So, but he was actually interesting. We talked about it in the press conference. He was really methodical with his answer. He's like, yeah, the wind goes that way. My foot goes like towards the ball, like this angle or something. I'm like, what? I was like, what? I actually smiled. I'm like, this is actually kind of interesting what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So he obviously takes his gig seriously. And if he's kicking 64-yarders, it's hard not for an NFL team to be like, all right, let's try him out.
Yeah, no, it's
Look
ridiculous.
at Jake Bates in the UFL, and now he's with Detroit. He was nailing 55-yarders, 60 yards inside a dome. Now he's doing this outside the link in a windy city. So. And
this here is what Maddox Trulio had to say following that Temple record-breaking 64-yard field goal.
Really just a confidence thing with me and Coach Drayton and Coach Shire. Just really them having confidence in me, and them having confidence in me helps me believe in myself even more than I already do. And it's just a reliance and being able to rely on my snapper, Andrew McElwain, my holder, Dante Adden. They're great, and then the line that blocks for me. I mean, I can't be comfortable if they're not as good as they are and they treat themselves like professionals, and they want to be professionals. So we always take that mentality into every day, and we just go out there and try to execute one kick at a time and then on to the next one.
So Trulio, just unreal. Probably one of the only Temple prospects that's like NFL talent right? Like he said, he's hitting 70 yards against Navy. Another guy I want to focus on, Dante Wright, right? We apparently Stan Drayton said on Wednesday wasn't sure if he was going to play, but Dante he's usually a little like nonchalant about it. He's like, no, I'm ready to go. and the coaches were a little iffy about it. And Stan Drayton said Dante was like, "No, I'm ready to play." And it's interesting too because right, this is a team last year, even though it's a bunch of different guys, even though Dante Wright was here, who we saw prior to a conference game, a short week, same thing, just like this year when they were hosting Tulsa, or when they were going to Tulsa, hosting Miami, they kind of rested all their guys. And this year, completely different story, right? Basically, everyone was playing. There was a couple guys that we didn't see out on the field.
Well, that's interesting to even say because I wonder how much of it was a decision from the players last year than it was a coach's decision, Because if it was a coach's decision, Stan probably wouldn't have played him, to be fair. I mean, I'm 100% honest with you. And if a player's going up to him right now and saying, I'm playing, that tells me last year the player was like, all right, I'm just going to sit this one out. We don't know how close everyone else was to coming back, too, Seriously, it's actually something really serious to consider.
Yeah.
So speculate all you want, but I'm glad Dante Wright was out there because a 91-yard touchdown was his longest career, along with Evan Simon. He only had 3 catches for 116 yards. So his usage in the first half.
Yeah, only had 4 targets after he had 20 catches the last 2 games. Only targeted 4 times. They obviously his because of that injury.
His reps were limited, but also throwing him out as punt returner, probably one of the more dangerous positions in football, especially a re-injury risk, was definitely like, okay, what is he doing? That's again made me like I said in the broadcast, like, what is Stan doing? But I think he came out of the game healthy, I would hope, knock on wood. Yeah. So hopefully he gets back to full strength on a short week.
Yeah, right. 3 catches for 116 yards, and as you mentioned, that 91-yard, which is a career-high touchdown pass. Both career longs for Evan Simon. That was big, too, because that was a third down play, too. I believe it was 3rd and 7, too. So it wasn't like Temple was taking a shot down the field. But next thing you know, Wright's open right in the middle, and he just takes off.
Yeah, the air yard wasn't. I think he was at his own 20-yard line. He just threw the ball perfectly. There was no safeties. Like you said, there was Roberts. So you guys are playing the sidelines, and he was a seam beater. That's what you want to call him, Madden. And Evan Simon read it perfectly. Again, that's the smartness from a QB like that, the IQ.
Yeah, and for Dante Wright now, that's 3 consecutive games with a touchdown pass. He had one at Navy, and last week at home against Coastal Carolina. That's now the 3rd time in his career that Wright has done that. He did it his first season at Colorado State, and did it last year, too. And that streak also started against Navy, so something going right for Dante Wright after he plays Navy, catches a touchdown pass, and just keeps on rolling with it.
Well, hopefully Army and another military school keeps that streak going, doesn't break it. That'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, I know. So he's definitely looked good as well. Antoine Littleton, too. Temple really liked using that kind of pitch play out towards him.
I hate the pitch play. It's a bad play, like I've mentioned again, because they pitch it like above their head. So if again it goes over the head, it could be a fumble. They bobble the snap, fumble it. It's not a toss where again it's more like in the breadbasket. And they could put it in between, like they're holding like a baby or like a golden goose egg. Like I really like to say during football, go get the football. It's tucked away, but they're making him go through the process. I just don't like it. Again, it's going towards the sideline, especially late in the game. They did it again with Therese Worthy, but he stayed in bounds. So the clock kept running. Just don't go to the sideline in that scenario. Some things they still have to clean up. I'm being a lot more positive. Because it was a good win.
Definitely more
but
positive.
Again, I told Hayden before we went on, I was like, you always can find negatives in the game. I'm not saying obviously there's a lot more negatives than positives in a win. But finally, there's more positives than negatives. But I'm just saying, even they didn't throw the bubble screen past 1 today.
Yeah.
Thank God.
They went away from that. And like you said,
maybe this is what's going to start happening.
They opened up that playbook for Evan Simon. And that doesn't make sense to me, right? Because
that flip pass to Antonio Jones was great.
We were basically told that Forrest Brock is starting over Evan Simon week 1. Why? Because he knows the playbook more. And now Evan Simon takes over.
Maybe Evan Simon took that to heart. I'm being serious and really started to excel. Like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah, and Stan Drayton said it after the press conference. He was talking about, or during the press conference, how, like, Evan Simon has a chip on his shoulder. And even talked about it during the recruiting process, too. And I believe it was Javier Morton who also was saying, like, everyone that's here at Temple, like, they all have a chip on their shoulder. And I think it's true, too, right? A lot of these guys are coming in from bigger programs, and because they weren't given an opportunity or didn't excel when they were given the opportunity. So for all these guys to be here, everyone has something to play for, whether they're a transfer, whether they're a walk-on like John Adams, whether it's their first.
He's been non-existent. I don't agree with that.
Well, yeah, I know.
Seriously, where has he been?
He's
fell down the depth chart. I forgot that scholarship. Like, no shade. I've been in class with John, but, like, I haven't seen his name be called out once.
He's been in La La Land.
All right. Great movie.
I've never watched it.
Really? It's probably the best thing I've ever seen in the movie.
La La Land?
Yeah, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. 2 of my favorite actors and actresses.
And then also on the receiving end this time, Kajaya Holloway. We never even heard the guy before.
I didn't.
Next thing you know,
hey, you're like, 85, and I was like, I actually looked at the book. I'm like, who is this as well?
Yeah, I'm
So,
looking through it too, and next I'm like, okay, he's on the roster.
This depth chart is all over the place. Like I said, I don't think it's set. I think they have to get to a set depth chart. But if they want to keep teams guessing, like who is this guy, blah blah, and let them use in different roles in the offense, I understand. But also then it's like the running backs. I didn't think Terrell Worthy would be getting snaps
No.
today or Washington.
And Stan Drains, like he earned his opportunity too. Like he is going to be getting more touches. They finally were able to let him kind of be himself and let him step into a role that he's comfortable with. And now he really excelled too. Like he's one of those guys, right?
he's
like,
quick. He says he's probably the fastest.
He
guy
said
on
it,
the
yeah.
team.
And-
He looks like the fastest on the team.
And Drayton pointed out, right? This is a team that has a former track star from South Carolina, Ashton Allen.
I'm a former track star. You don't see me bragging.
Yeah,
about
but
it.
you played in high school. You ran in high school.
I know, but I don't know. Where
I run around the track at Temple, like at Star. Yeah.
I hate that track.
Why?
It's not like scenic, you know.
Yeah, it's true. But it's better than like running on a treadmill.
Oh, I agree. I have to run outside.
Yeah, no, I can't. When I run on the treadmill, I'm just like,
I'm just
Down
saying,
and down.
Trezworthy, like they can't run up the middle thing because he doesn't have that power to go through. That's why a lot of his plays are designed to the outside.
yeah,
When he had that near touchdown, it was a design where he's just so fast to get past the secondary like that. Even the linebackers are not good enough. Even a good linebacker covering sideline isn't catching him.
And credit to you. You said it last week, right? Temple, you remember? Yeah, you're gonna remember. If I say if I say two letters,
Okay,
you'll
yeah.
know it. T.O.
Terrell Owens.
Come on. Turn.
Over.
Boom. Finally got it. And
Only
Javier,
one.
Only one. They should have had two. I don't know how Javier
Javier-
Morton dropped it.
Hey, we all had those bad drops. He admitted to it. He said he's like, if I didn't drop that, then they probably wouldn't have scored. Hey, that defense took full responsibility for that drive, and I
Respect that.
yes, I condemn them for doing that. A lot of teams, like, other guys got to fix up and stuff, but they were 100% real about it.
Yeah, it
So.
seems like there was, like, earlier on in the season, kind of seemed like there was some blame being pushed towards people.
And I believe Juwan Black is back next week.
He is back, and
So.
Zay Bain should also be back next week, too. So those
But
are,
even then, Juwan Black can tighten up that defense a little more. Hopefully stop the
Yeah.
run, because there's another triple option offense. But Javier Morton, yeah, like you mentioned, they've got the one turnover. Andres Keaton did promise last week to the media, when we were in the turnover battle, we're going to win. I think they were still going to win.
I think that's what you said.
No, he said that.
Did he say that?
Yeah, I think I have the recording.
Okay.
But I'm just quoting him word for word.
Right,
because I
right.
think it was a good quote, because obviously it came to fruition.
Yeah.
But also, I think they're still going to win anyway. They were up by
Yeah, it
three
was-
scores.
yeah.
It just, again, that was a good turnover, because now we know say, oh, they won a turnover.
They
battle.
finally
Fine.
got it, yeah.
One turnover through 4 games is what are you gonna do?
It's
Army's
not
not
the
gonna Army's not gonna pass it next week.
No.
So I don't think a lot of teams are gonna pass on them. They got one. I think they end with 4 in the year.
4 turnovers?
Yeah.
Or 4 takeaways?
4 takeaways. I'm gonna.
So now they're I think they're minus 10, right?
Yeah, because they had
in that
11 going into
department?
today. Yeah.
Jeez. That's the worst in the FBS, but
Oh, clearly.
well, yeah.
This team still might be statistically worse in the FBS after this week. I'm being dead serious. I don't know, and it stinks. They
They
got
probably
one
will
win.
be, because I think Auburn was the second worst, and they were like minus 7. So unless
Oh, I'm just saying overall the team, like every statistic, like still like nationally ranked as the bottom.
you can't say that after they beat someone.
I understand. This is what. Okay, now I'm going back to negative, Liam.
Oh boy.
Because all these Twitter accounts like, oh, this is the win, 9-3, 6-6, the bowl game. Evan Simon is
Alright.
he in the GOAT debate? Like seriously, like
Well, that's just not being realistic.
I know, but we have to be realistic. Hayden,
I know.
said-
well, we are
we
being
mentioned the
realistic.
spring. I said 0-12,
And I said
looked,
3 and 9.
I said, what's the one team like you feel confident they'll win against? And you said Utah State, and you
Yep.
said maybe like a home team on the conference, maybe FAU.
I honestly, I think I said I was kind of iffy with Navy, and I'm still iffy with Army. But Army looks like
They don't win night games. Temple, they don't win night games.
I see. This is another thing I hate. Right? They don't win night games. They don't win they barely win.
They barely
They
win.
do barely win. So
I'm
obviously,
getting
the odds.
riled up.
The odds are, it's like, all right, they've won what now 7 games under Stan Drayton. So it just happens to be that all of them have been at home. Half of them, or not half of them, but a good amount of them against FCS opponents, right? Like Massachusetts and Lafayette
They
and
still play UConn.
Norfolk State. Yeah. Well, that's a road game too. So maybe,
Yeah,
I
I don't think
Evan
so.
Simon at UConn.
Oh my gosh, Evans! I hope he gets to UConn.
He'll get there.
I hope so. I
You could-
enjoy
you could
watching Evan
book it.
Simon. He's a good guy. He seems like a good kid. He knows what he's saying.
Good kid.
Good kid.
That's your favorite line.
But I'm just saying, it's one win. Can everyone calm down on Twitter? Can everyone calm down?
Who's everyone? Who's going nuts on
We got
Twitter?
Pro Better. I don't want to diss these guys. Pro Better out there. I think Temple Takeoff said something. I know.
This is a game, and
I don't know if it was James Urban, a former WHIP member, or lovely producer Nick Parr saying is Evan Simon in the GOAT debate. It was James. I knew it was James. So I'm just saying, can everyone just? I know there's some jokes are here and there, but some people actually believe Temple's still a bowl caliber team, and I'm not buying it.
I'm not in that either.
But honestly, I won't say downgrade, but now how EJ Warner's panning out of Rice, you're kind of just saying, all right, maybe we will be fine with our quarterback position now.
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
Simon. It took 2 games to realize, and also an injury to finally throw him out there, which stinks. But because I said in the broadcast, if Evan Simon starts that Navy game,
if he makes that first
they
throw,
could be 500. They
that
could be
you said-
500.
I think you also said that first throw of the season against Oklahoma, where it was, I think, was Dante Wright who was the intended receiver, and Forrest Brock
I didn't
threw
get to
behind
watch
him?
first half because I was at my football
oh,
game.
that's right.
So I watched the second half, which didn't matter at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, a quarterback can make a difference. I said there's not a lot of talent on that team anyway. Because we were joking around in the press room eating. I was like, can Travis Hunter really make this team 3-4 wins better? No, he can't.
Right.
Shador and Travis, yeah, probably because it's the American. It's like a bottom feeder conference. But I'm just saying, my point is halt the celebrations, halt the parade. No, nothing's happening on Broad Street. Temple's not going to college football playoff. It's 1 win. Hopefully this actually is riding the ship and they get a win against Army.
But
And heading to UConn, another winnable game.
To be fair, you just got to take it day by day, right? Like,
It's a win. It's a good win. They all get to sleep good tonight. I think everyone, like I said, there's a lot more positives than negatives. There's not a lot of negatives. I think the defense played great in the second half. I think that field goal by Automatics really turned the tide for everything. It seriously did.
it changed.
They went
a
in like
lot
they went in
the
like
game.
hyped up, in the
especially
tunnel.
because they were receiving the second half. So you go into that locker room, you're all fired up. You're only down by 4 points.
It's crazy how momentum works. Adrenaline too. Seriously, it's football. It's a sport. 30 minutes to go. It's a whole second half, and they really play well the defense. Tyquan King getting back there. DJ Woodbury, lineman forcing in the turnovers. Petrus looked awful in the second half.
Team
Really,
that scored 6 touchdowns today. Like,
I know it's just crazy to talk about.
and
I'm glad
it was
I'm
by
glad,
6 different guys all scored too,
Like,
which should be noted.
I told Max after this. He's like, you called a great game. You called history. You called a win.
yeah.
And I said, I want to be calling a win when Temple wins the AAC in Texas. So if that's
why
what you
would
think,
I don't think it would be in why would it be in Texas?
why
It's,
basketball,
oh.
hoops.
Yeah.
So my bad.
No, you're-
I'm looking more forward to that. I think at one point it was 14-0. They showed the Temple season tickets. I was like, oh, we might as well just start talking about that. So, but overall, I am very glad I got to call this game with you, Hayden. We called history.
Called a lot of touchdowns.
You called history, a lot of touchdowns. I always get that one game, even last year, the Norfolk State game.
Right.
Even the UTSA game that was on homecoming, that was a fun game.
Yeah.
Even though they lost, but still. Offensively, they're going the right direction. Defensively, still kind of cleaning things up against the run. There was too many runs. I think
Yeah.
Utah State had close to
186 rushing yards.
All right.
Faison, the PA native, he had a bunch of family and friends there.
Yeah, he's
It
from
was-
he's from
did-
Pottstown.
Did you notice what Stan Drayton said?
He's like, you try to get him.
Yeah.
Try to get him.
Very interesting.
Interesting why Utah State, I don't know, NIL. I'm being serious. But Faison was good. And he, like I said, he had ballerina feet out there as well.
148 yards, 1 touchdown.
Even Royals, too, 10 reception, 112 yards.
Well, that's the thing too. Defense,
Temple's defense just can't stop those kind of stars. And they
but I
game
don't
records.
understand because literally
They
Utah
play a lot of
State-
zone. Temple plays a lot of zone.
But Utah State was throwing the ball to 2 guys, and they kept running it with Faison, right? They ran the ball 36 times overall. How many times do you think Faison touched it?
27.
Well, you looked at it. Come on, you can't do that. But yeah, 27 of the 36 rushes were from Faison. And then in terms of completions, Petrus threw the ball 44 times. Between Royals and White, he threw it to them 28 times, more than half.
And Temple really still couldn't stop them. It's a lot of zone. That's what I'm saying. They're not throwing these guys on islands when the blitz. I just don't know why everybody doesn't trust his defense to blitz. Because when they kind of show blitz but drop back, it kind of disrupts the offense to see what they're throwing. I think in Army, you got to sack the box because they're going to run the ball.
Well, yeah, this is
So.
the first week really where
They're
Temple,
riding the momentum. They're going
They
in the right
got 'em.
direction.
They got
But
'em.
now I'm afraid it's going to be 44-0 game.
Oh, come on, dude. Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry. It's just a bad track history. What happened
I
after they
think-
beat Navy? What was the next game result?
Last year, you're saying?
Yes.
A loss?
Yeah, but what was the score?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Was it the SMU game? I'm not even kidding.
I don't think so. Let me look it up.
Yeah, fact check that.
All right, last year after Temple beat Navy, which was 32-18, they ended up losing
This is great.
to
My high school football
it
team.
was South Florida,
Okay.
27-23 on the road.
Well, talk about winning. My high school football team took a video with like KJ Miles and stuff after the game,
Yeah.
and now they're DMing him saying, "Don't worry." He's like, "Appreciate y'all. We're gonna keep winning. Get your boys lit in the city."
Damn right.
Start planning the parade around the Rocky statue, I guess. At this point, get the mummer costumes out. Someone's got to react. Jason Kelsey.
Get the mummers out. You think so?
So they lost to USF.
Yeah. By 4.
All right. But I think
Here we
I
go.
think Army's a better U.S. football team than USF.
Oh yeah, no, the Army is nothing to like sneeze. I think they
And
were picked 5th.
I think Navy's a good team because they just beat Memphis and scored 56 points on them.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I know, around the American actually, but seriously, maybe Navy actually doesn't get enough love, and that's why Temple actually played a tough football team. There's a lot of what if hypothetical scenarios.
Sure.
3 things: Evan Simon is a good quarterback, defense is on the right track, get everyone healthy. 3 things. That's all. That's what they gotta do at this point. Ride Evan Simon out, clean up the defense, get everyone healthy.
Yeah, I agree with you. They got to keep riding Evan
Short
Simon.
week. I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but
Got to keep riding Evan Simon. I want to see more of Terez Worthy and just them pounding that football,
Yeah,
whether
throw him
they're
in the
bouncing
slot.
out towards the sides or whatever. And then defense, I think, honestly, I think this is one of the worser games that the defense played, right? Over 185 yards through the ground, and then Petrus almost throws for 300. One of those factors of the game has to get picked up, especially this week against
it's the
Army.
run game. It's the run game. It's the run game.
Well, yeah.
I don't think the secondary's good as much. I hate to say it. I think Javier Moore and Andre Keene is actually not a bad safety duo. But the Jalen McMurray loss is not looking great.
Yeah.
Johnson back there, Jalen Lewis, Ben Oswike, kind of guys that have those lapses where you're like, even Johnson, that PI call, wasn't even looking at the ball down the field. Oswike was getting targeted by Royals at some points during the game. It's just those guys kind of have targets on their back, and that's why I think it starts with the front 7. I continuously keep saying that. But a run-heavy game script's coming into Link on Thursday night, so that's what you should prepare for.
So that'll wrap things up. Temple defeats Utah State 45-29. They will host Army at home, looking for consecutive wins for the first time since
In a while.
I don't even know when.
I don't know when either. That's what it was in the past 2 years.
Definitely not. So Temple looking to try and get back-to-back wins on a short week. For our producer, Nick Parr, myself, Aiden Bandel, co-host Liam Gianelli, take care, and we will see you guys next week following the Temple Army game.
It's been a long day.
Yes, it has.